What's up, Money Club? Welcome back to our next Content Cafeteria video where we're going to talk again about an advisor. Now, you've already seen one video about why you might need an advisor. So if you need to start there, we encourage you to go back and check that video out. But today, we're going to talk about how to get one and where to start. So Coach Gabe, kick us off.
Yeah, no doubt. So really the first thing you want to figure out, we talked in the last video about how there are different kinds of advisors. They perform a few different functions. So really you want to figure out what services do you need. Do you want help financial planning? Do you want help, transitioning maybe out of a divorce? Maybe you get an inheritance, right? Maybe you need help navigating some trickier financial things. But financial advisors can also just help you invest your money. You just want help investing your money, that's a good thing too. So determine whether you want financial planning help and or just help with investing some extra income you have.
Yeah, I love that. And if you're transitioning jobs, a lot of times you can take your 401k from that job and roll it into a new IRA. And that's where getting investment help can be really, really important. Another thing to think about is, what are you willing to pay for your help? So not just do you need to think about, what you need, but what are you willing to pay for? So there are lots of different services. You can get a robo-advisor. This is like Betterment, Wealthfront. There's a ton of these that are, just what they sound. It is a computer automated system that takes your investment and changes it over time, but it's pretty automated.
Yeah. And
it can be a really good low cost way to get investment, get started, get moving. But it's not the only one. What else can we do?
For sure. So, and just to be clear, the robo-advisors are good for investment help, right? You wouldn't go to a robo-advisor to help you get out of a divorce, right?
Right. Not me, at least.
Yeah, right. Maybe in 10 years, 5 years. Robo-advisor, and then there are also a lot of services that provide you can meet with somebody, but it's through Zoom, it's through video chat.
Yep.
So again, that's usually cheaper than meeting somebody in person.
Yeah, and naturally, a robo-advisor can do some things that a person can't do, right? Faster programming, processing speed. But you might need to ask questions. You might need to ask very specific, support questions about your scenario, and you need to sit down with somebody and just walk through something, which is a totally different service.
Totally. Once you've made your decision on which way you're going to go, the next thing we would definitely recommend is to kind of check some credentials, right? If you've already picked a service, you've already picked a person, it's important to verify them in some way. So below the video, we've put a few different credentials that you can look at. I know you can speak at length on this, but financial advisors need to be credentialed in some way, right? And that's important because we don't want to just give our money and trust our money to somebody who, is selling us snake oil, right?
Yep. Yeah. So there's a lot of different certifications that people can get. And look, as you go through this, think through what you need, right? There's CFP, Certified Financial Planners. Those are really focused on individuals, or they're for individuals that have earned a bit of knowledge that's really for individuals who have proven themselves capable in the realm of giving you an outline and mapping out your future, versus someone that is an advisor, a certified financial advisor, who's much better at reallocating your assets, right? Which is basically a fancy way of saying moving your money around to help it grow. So there's also, accredited financial counseling. There's also, all kinds of different smaller certifications, but it's really important that you at least look into someone's history and find out, have they been reviewed well with their peers? Have their certifications been updated? Do they have specific certifications outside of these that might indicate knowledge or experience in smaller fields that are just really important?
And complaints, the SEC requires advisors there's public information. If somebody has filed a complaint against an advisor, you can find that.
Right.
So we'll drop a couple of links below to help you navigate that. But just because somebody has a complaint, they may have been doing this for 20 years, right? That's not an automatic rule them out.
Right.
But again, it's part of the due diligence process to make sure that you're trusting your money with somebody who doesn't have a history of sharking people.
Yeah, and that's really important to note, not only from a do your research perspective, but people may have not gotten the return they want and post a bad review, and that's not always the representation of a financial advisor's capability of helping you. So take it with a grain of salt, do your research, pause and listen. But I think, we're sort of sliding into the next question, like, how do you find them?
Yeah.
Friends and family, your network is going to be a great place to start that process, because they're going to know how to recommend someone to you based on their experience.
Totally. It's a similar thing with like real estate agents, right? Like, it's a dime a dozen, and it's a really, really important and sensitive thing, right? So you want to find somebody that is accredited and verified by somebody That would be really great. A couple other options. There's a National Association for Personal Financial Advisors, which is a big a big organization where kind of peer-reviewed financial advisors. So that's a good place to look. Google is a good place to look. We've also dropped a link below to a NerdWallet article that talks about the kind of side-by-side comparison, some of the like Wealthfront and Betterment, some of the bigger name brands in the industry.
Yeah. So now let's talk about, I think the divide in many ways. Once you have gotten comfortable with, okay, I believe I'm ready to ask for somebody, I know how to search for them. One of the keys is to know how they're paid, because advisors are paid in generally two different ways. You've got one side that's, I get paid based on my hours with you, right? It's a flat fee. It's based on just doing the work. And that is really important in contrast to someone that is paid on commission. So someone paid on commission is essentially favoring certain stocks, not necessarily, but potentially, because they're offered incentives to sell stock, sell plans, sell programs that are bundled together. So naturally, if you're offered commission, there's an incentive to push certain ideologies and push certain products versus just doing what's right for you. So it's just worth knowing that there are two different kinds, and it's worth asking whoever you reach out to about their fee structure.
100%. And some do both, where it's like there is a fee for advice consulting, and then they also have a commission structure.
Yeah.
Usually for higher end advisors. But yeah, the important thing is just to really know who you're working with, right?
Yeah, and ask questions when you reach out.
Exactly.
There's so many individuals that can help you. That's the reality. It's a very very common field. There are just dozens and dozens of advisors in every single state. So there's no need to feel like you have to choose one. And now you can get advising virtually via digital chat. So there's really options galore. But it does help to know what to start with and where to ask questions. So where can someone start if they're like, okay, I'm reaching out. What questions do I ask?
How long have you been practicing for, right? What's your ideal client, right? Like, any good financial advisor should be able to tell you, like, you're the right person for me or you're not, right? And if they can't have that, they can't say that honestly, that's a red flag for me.
Yeah.
Another really important question is, just even asking questions, like how responsive are they to you probing, to you asking questions? Again, another red flag if somebody's just like, not comfortable with you asking them their credentials, right, their history, who they specialize with, how long they've been practicing for, things like that.
Yeah, and ultimately, if you're going to put your money in the hands of another individual, whether they're certified or not, you should feel like you trust them. And you should feel welcome to ask questions, welcome to present challenges or ask for explanations. And during the question process, you're probably going to get a pretty good indication of how your relationship will be pretty early on. So trust your gut and know that there are lots of options and you can almost find this anywhere.
No doubt. I would say to close that, if you don't feel like you need a really personalized or in-depth financial planning right now, or you don't have the budget for it because it can be expensive for sure, just start small. Like, if you're just looking for some investment help, robo-advisors can be great.
Yeah,
they're really great. And then if you want to speak with somebody, but again, your budget's not too high, or you don't have really, and you don't have really in-depth questions, then again, use a virtual only service that's always going to be much cheaper starting off than meeting with some big name advisor that's charging you like $300 or $400 an hour, right?
Yep. Yeah, and look, Money Club, there's so many different places that you can get support, but it just comes down to taking the initiative and taking some first steps. So like Coach Gabe said, there's robo-advising, there's also in-person services, and all of it begins with a query. So search online, talk to friends, talk to families, talk to us. We're happy to help. We've got some resources here for you to get you started and get you on your way, not just in Money Club, but here in the Content Cafeteria. And then we're going to link you to some other resources that we feel are really good matches to get you going in the right direction. So any other last comments?
We have a members lounge. Sure, there's lots of really great people to help and answer these questions.
That's true. Yeah, this is a great time to ask questions, and maybe, just maybe, if people are feeling brave, talk about, who do you talk to for advice, and see if you can find someone in network. We'll see you on the next one.